Sticks and stones together make the sparks ignite, and the thought of loving you is getting so. Carry on, you lie.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
America was changing, and the music changed with it. The 1960s brought rebellion, new dreams, and a generation finding its voice. The 1970s brought dance, freedom, television, and a whole new culture. These 15 one-hit wonders didn't just become hits, they captured the times we lived through. 15 most famous one-hit wonders that made history everyone still remembers. Let's begin with number 15. Number 15. Wipe Out, the Surfaris. Close your eyes and imagine the summer of 1963. The family car is rolling down the highway, the windows are open, and a little transistor radio is playing somewhere nearby. Then suddenly, those drums hit. Wipe Out didn't need a singer to become unforgettable. The Surfaris turned an instrumental surf rock track into a #2 Billboard hit, and that famous drum solo became one of the most recognizable moments in early rock music. What made it historic was how much personality a song could create without a single verse or chorus being sung. It sounded like teenagers, beaches, cars, and endless summer afternoons. For a generation growing up before digital music, you couldn't simply replay the song whenever you wanted. You waited for the radio to bring it back. And when those drums finally returned, the whole car seemed to come alive. The Surfaris never had another hit like it, but Wipe Out still sounds like summer in 1963.
My boyfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble. Hey, Lord.
Number 14. My Boyfriend's Back, the Angels.
You've been spreading lies that I was untrue. Hey, Lord.
Picture a teenager in 1963 sitting beside a bedroom radio, waiting for the next song to finish. There were no playlists to choose from and no way to skip a song you didn't like. When My Boyfriend's Back came on, you simply listened. The Angels turned a playful teenage story into a #1 hit, complete with sharp harmonies, hand claps, and an attitude that captured the sound of early 1960s girl group pop. But the historical moment was bigger than the chart position. Songs like this gave young women a voice in popular music and reflected a generation beginning to see teenage culture as something powerful of its own. You can almost picture the record spinning on a little turntable while friends gathered around, singing along to every word. The Angels never returned to that level of success. But decades later, the opening words still feel like a message from another time, when a 45 record, a bedroom radio, and a few friends could make an ordinary afternoon unforgettable.
For one heart to carry on.
Number 13, 9/6 Tears, and the Mysterians.
You're always laughing. Wake up.
Not every historic song arrived polished and perfectly produced. Sometimes it sounded like it had been recorded in somebody's garage, and that was exactly the magic. In 1966, 96 Tears burst onto American radio with that strange, haunting organ riff and climbed all the way to #1.
Cry. Cry.
And the Mysterians helped define the raw garage rock sound that was spreading across America. Their record proved that a rough-edged local band could compete with the polished pop productions coming from major labels.
But I know now.
Imagine hearing it for the first time from a car radio on a warm evening, with the windows down and that mysterious organ filling the street. It didn't sound like yesterday's music. It sounded like something rebellious was happening right now. For teenagers who wanted music that felt raw and real, 96 Tears became part of that moment. The Mysterians never found another hit on the same scale. But that organ riff still carries the attitude of 1966 and reminds us that sometimes history begins in the smallest places.
Drop your silver in my tambourine.
Number 12. Green Tambourine, The Lemon Pipers.
When you toss a coin, you hear it sing.
By 1968, the world of pop music had become wonderfully strange. Walk into a record store, and you could find music that sounded brighter, dreamier, and more experimental than anything heard just a few years earlier. Then came Green Tambourine.
Drop a dime before I walk away.
The Lemon Pipers took a psychedelic pop sound and turned it into a #1 hit. But the song's real historical importance was how perfectly it captured the colorful, dreamlike atmosphere of the late 1960s. America was changing quickly, and young listeners were searching for sounds that felt different from their parents' music.
Now listen while I play.
Green Tambourine seemed to belong to that new world. You can imagine it playing from a record player in a living room while colorful album covers sat nearby, and the outside world felt like it was changing every week. The Lemon Pipers couldn't recreate that success, but perhaps they didn't need to. Their one great hit became a time capsule. Hear it today, and those soft psychedelic sounds can make 1968 feel surprisingly close again.
In the year 2525.
Number 11. In the year 2525, Zager and Evans.
In the year 3535. Ain't gonna need to.
In 1969, America was looking toward the future like never before. Apollo missions were capturing the nation's attention. Astronauts were preparing to reach the moon, and technology seemed capable of changing everything. Then, a strange song arrived on the radio asking what humanity might become, hundreds of years from now.
In the year 4545.
In the year 25025, reached #1 and stayed there for 6 weeks. But its historical importance went far beyond the chart. It captured the optimism and fear of a generation standing between an extraordinary past and an uncertain future. Imagine hearing it late at night from a radio beside the bed, while newspapers talked about space, and television showed images from the Apollo era. The future suddenly didn't feel like science fiction anymore. It felt close.
In the year 8510.
Zager and Evans never produced another hit like it, but their one song became permanently tied to one of America's most remarkable years. Whenever those haunting words return, they bring back 1969, the year America looked toward the moon and wondered where technology might take humanity next.
Sugar! Sugar!
Number 10. Sugar Sugar, The Archies. Saturday morning in 1969 meant cartoons, cereal, a television glowing in the living room, and for millions of children, the Archies. The strange part was that the Archies weren't a real touring band at all. They were fictional cartoon characters. Yet Sugar Sugar became a #1 hit and one of the biggest pop songs of its era. That made the record historically unusual. A fictional group had created a very real musical phenomenon. For children, there was nothing strange about it. The same characters they watched on television could suddenly be heard on the radio later that afternoon. Imagine running outside to play with friends while the song was still playing in the background, or hearing it from a little speaker in the kitchen while your parents went about their day. That is why Sugar Sugar means more than a catchy chorus. It is connected to childhood itself.
When I kissed you, girl, I knew how sweet a kiss could be. I know how sweet a...
The Archies never needed another major hit to remain memorable. For anyone who grew up around Saturday morning cartoons, those first few notes can still bring back a simpler world in an instant.
And you got me wanting you.
Number 9. Spirit in the Sky, Norman Greenbaum. There are songs you recognize from the first lyric, and then there are songs you recognize from the first guitar note. Spirit in the Sky is one of those songs. Released around the turn of the 1970s, Norman Greenbaum's unusual combination of heavy guitar, gospel influence, hand claps, and spiritual lyrics became a number 3 Billboard hit. It sounded powerful enough for rock radio, but strange enough to stand completely apart from everything around it. That was its historical mark. It showed that rock, gospel, and pop could collide and create something instantly recognizable. Imagine hearing that riff from a car radio while driving through an early 1970s neighborhood, with the warm evening air coming through the window. You might not know who recorded it, but you knew the sound. Greenbaum never had another hit of comparable size, yet the song kept returning through movies, television, commercials, and oldies radio. Even today, that guitar can make the early 1970s feel only a few seconds away. Number 8. Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Swede. Some memories don't come back through a photograph. They come back through a sound. For millions of people, that sound begins with 4 unforgettable syllables. Ooga chaka, ooga chaka. Blue Swede's version of Hooked on a Feeling became a number 1 hit in 1974, turning an unusual vocal introduction into one of the most recognizable openings in pop music. But the song also captured the spirit of the decade. Music was getting louder, more rhythmic, and more playful, while powerful car stereos and home sound systems were making it easier to fill an entire room with music. You can imagine the song playing at a party, coming from a jukebox, or blasting from a car parked outside on a summer evening. Blue Swede never repeated the success, but the recording refused to disappear. Years later, movies and television introduced it to another generation. That is what makes a one-hit wonder special. Sometimes a sound becomes so memorable that it survives long after the original moment has passed. Number 7. Kung Fu Fighting, Carl Douglas. In 1974, you could feel the martial arts craze everywhere. Bruce Lee was a global star, kung fu movies were filling theaters, and television was bringing Eastern martial arts into American homes. Then the radio got its own soundtrack. Carl Douglas released Kung Fu Fighting, and the song raced to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Its success was more than good timing. It captured a cultural obsession at exactly the right moment and turned that excitement into a song millions could sing along with. Imagine leaving a movie theater in 1974, seeing martial arts posters glowing outside, and then hearing that familiar rhythm on the car radio on the way home. That was the world the song belonged to. Carl Douglas never repeated the American success, but the song became permanently attached to the decade's fascination with Kung Fu. Even now, the moment someone sings the title, the images return, the movies, the television shows, the action, and that unmistakable feeling of 1974.
You got the notion, said I'd like to know when.
Number 6. Rock the Boat, Hughes Corporation.
Ever since our voyage's love began.
There was a moment in the 1970s when American music began moving from simply listening to dancing. In 1974, Rock the Boat arrived right in the middle of that transformation.
Our love is like a ship on the ocean.
The Hughes Corporation's smooth, infectious song reached number 1 and became an early landmark in the dance sound that would soon explode into the disco era. But its importance wasn't just about the chart. It was about what people were doing when they heard it.
So I'd like to know where you got the notion.
The song belonged in living rooms, clubs, school dances, and anywhere a record player could turn an ordinary evening into a reason to move. Picture a crowded dance floor, wide collars, platform shoes, warm lights, and a record spinning while everyone knows the chorus. That was 1974.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, don't tip the boat.
The Hughes Corporation never matched the success of Rock the Boat, but the song remained attached to the moment when American dance music was changing. Today, hearing it can bring back more than a melody. It can bring back an entire dance floor. Number 5. Play That Funky Music, Wild Cherry. The story behind Play That Funky Music sounds like something that could only have happened in the 1970s. Wild Cherry was a rock band playing clubs, but their audience wanted something different. They wanted funk. That demand helped inspire the phrase that became the title, and suddenly the band had a song that reached number 1 in 1976. What made it historic was the way it reflected a changing America, where rock, funk, soul, and R&B were crossing musical boundaries. The song wasn't trying to choose one world. It brought them together. You can almost see the scene. A smoky club, a crowded dance floor, people moving under colored lights, and a band realizing that the audience wanted something they hadn't expected to play. For a generation that remembers 1976, that groove can still feel immediate. Wild Cherry never repeated the success, but they captured a moment when musical boundaries were breaking down and turned it into a song that still makes people move.
Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some air.
Number 4. Afternoon Delight, Starland Vocal Band.
Sticks and stones together make the sparks ignite, and the thought of loving you is getting so.
Think about an ordinary summer afternoon in 1976. The car windows are down, the radio is on, and a sweet-sounding harmony fills the air. Then you actually listen to the lyrics.
Started out this morning feeling so full, I always thought a fish could not be.
Afternoon Delight became a number 1 hit for Starland Vocal Band, and its unusual combination of innocent-sounding harmonies and unmistakably adult subject matter made it one of the most memorable songs of the decade. Its historical value came from that contrast. It was a song families could hear on mainstream radio, while adults understood the meaning beneath the cheerful arrangement. The record became part of the everyday soundtrack of 1976. On radios, in cars, at gatherings, and during warm summer days.
We can make a lot of love before the sun gone down.
The band never came close to repeating the success, but the song survived because it captured something very specific about 1970s pop culture. Playful, daring, and just a little provocative. Hear those harmonies today, and you may not remember the exact year, but you can almost feel the summer again.
And we know the night
night is always gonna be here anyway.
Let me hold you close and say these words as gently.
Number 3. Torn Between Two Lovers, Mary McGregor.
And he knows you can't possess me. And he knows.
Some songs remind you of a place, others remind you of a person. Torn Between Two Lovers could do both.
He can feel.
In 1976, Mary McGregor's emotional ballad reached number 1 and became one of the most recognizable relationship songs of the decade. Its story wasn't simple. The singer was caught between two people, and there was guilt, uncertainty, and honesty in every line.
Feeling like a fool.
That made the song feel more personal than many romantic hits of the era. Imagine a late-night drive with the radio low, streetlights passing across the windshield, and suddenly a song says something you couldn't explain yourself.
Between two lovers, feeling.
That was the power of 1970s radio. Music could become part of your private life because there was no endless stream of new content competing for your attention. Mary McGregor never matched this success, but the song became her permanent signature.
I gave to you.
Decades later, hearing it can bring back an old relationship, an old car, or someone whose name you haven't spoken in years. That is when nostalgia becomes more than remembering a song.
You've come along.
Number 2. You Light Up My Life, Debbie Boone.
Carry on. You lie.
In 1977, one song seemed to follow America everywhere. You Light Up My Life, by Debbie Boone, spent 10 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, an extraordinary run that made it one of the biggest chart stories of the decade.
With song.
But imagine what that actually meant in 1977. There was no Spotify, no personal playlist, and no skip button. If a song was a hit, you heard it again and again, on the radio, in the kitchen, in the family car, at work, in stores, and from the record player at home.
It be finally, I'm turning.
Millions of people were hearing the same song at the same time. That shared experience is part of what made music so powerful in those years. You Light Up My Life wasn't just a successful record. It became part of the daily soundtrack of 1977.
Light up my life.
Debbie Boone never had another hit that approached its impact. But the song remains tied to an era when one voice, one melody, and one radio could connect millions of strangers without them ever knowing it.
Love and ABC, skinned our hearts and skinned our knees. Goodbye, my.
Number 1. Seasons in the Sun, Terry Jacks.
Think of me and I'll be there. We had joy, we had fun.
There are songs that remind you of the past, and then there are songs that seem to understand what it means to lose it. Terry Jacks's Seasons in the Sun became a number 1 hit in 1974, turning a melancholy farewell into one of the most recognizable songs of the decade.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
Its success was almost surprising because the subject was so sad, yet that sadness was part of its power. Imagine hearing it from an old radio while sitting in the family car, looking out the window as familiar streets passed by.
We had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the stars.
At the time, you didn't know that the people beside you, the car you were sitting in, and the ordinary afternoon you were living would someday become memories themselves. That's what gives the song its lasting weight. Years pass, cars change, record players disappear, people move away. Some voices become only memories.
But the wine and the song, like the seasons have all.
But an old song can bring all of it back for a few minutes. Seasons in the Sun isn't remembered simply because it was a number 1 hit. It's remembered because it reminds people that time moves on, and that music can sometimes hold a moment still. These songs weren't just hits, they became memories. Which one brings back the strongest memory for you? Tell us in the comments. And if you love forgotten music from the 1960s and 1970s, subscribe for more. Until next time, keep the music playing.